and welcome to the Daily Mill for Monday, the 18th of August 2025. In today's Millwall news, we have some post-match comments from head coach Alex Neil. And that's about it, really. So let's get into it. This is from southernnews.co.uk. Millwall boss admits sensing big expectations ahead of Middlesbrough loss. Alex Neil admitted he could sense there were big expectations ahead of Mill's 3-0 loss to Middlesbrough on the weekend. The Lions brought their excellent form from the end of last season into the new campaign, winning 2-1 away at Norwich City on the opening day of the season. They had won their 5 previous home games heading into their clash with Borough at the Den and started strongly, having the best chance of the first half when Casper de Norre's volley was cleared off the line by Luke Ayling. However, Middlesbrough struck first shortly after the interval, with Aidan Ackley turning in Morgan Whittaker's cutback. Millwall nearly equalised shortly after with Josh Coburn's 53rd minute header hitting both posts before bouncing clear, but were largely frustrated by an organised Borough defence for the rest of the tie. The Teesside club doubled their lead in the 87th minute after Alfie Jones poked home a corner and then added another late in injury time via Delano Bergzog. Neil was looking for his side to bounce back after a disappointing result at home. What's really interesting is that I certainly sense that today. There's big expectations on us, Neil said after the match. I think that's naturally frustrating, because for us to take the next step as a team, we need to understand that there will be expectations and take it on board and still produce. I think if we score in the first half and we get the next goal, the game is different. But as I said, nobody cares about that. The fact is we lost the match, and I understand that, and I understand the way the dynamics work. If we win, I'm excellent, and if we lose, I'm crap, and that's fine. We've got no problems with that, but we need to sit behind closed doors ourselves with a team and go through it to make sure we discuss it properly. Yep, Millwall schizoid, 21st century. Millwall schizoid man. Do 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 do. If you win, you're fantastic. If you lose, oh my god, we're all falling down. And here's the thing I mentioned yesterday, looking at the table. We won one, we lost one. Ipswich, everyone's favourites to win the league. They've drawn their first 2 games. We have more points than them, but we've lost a game. They're unbeaten. They haven't won a game. We have won a game. So, we are now ahead of them because we win a game and they couldn't manage to win any of their opening 2 games. It is what it is, yeah. Now, this is the second one. Again, from southernnews.co.uk. I think it's worth the risk. Alex Neil chasing late goals in behind following Mill lost to Borough. Alex Neil said he will continue to take risks to chase goals late in matches when Mill are behind, even if it means conceding another. Neil introduced several attackers as a half-warren, including Langstaff and Amaku, but his side were unable to pull one back and the game was put out of reach when Borough scored 2 late goals. Well, that third goal, that wasn't because of attacking, that was Amaku. That was a personal mistake by Amaku. I don't know why, I think he tried to do like a step over and he just, instead of stepping over, he hit the ball and it went to the Middlesbrough player. And the problem with that was that Zach Sturge had already run ahead, because it was an easy pass forward to him, and the pass didn't happen. So now there's a big gap behind where the geezer literally run into. So, I don't think you can put that on. There were too many attacking players. It's like, that was a personal mistake. Neil still intends to take risks regardless of how it makes the final scorelog. If we scored in the first half, it's a different game because we're normally very good at doing that. We've got a lead, we can counter-attack and leave spaces against opponents, and that's what we're good at. Josh scores the game. If Josh scores, the game's back level, and it's in the balance, and we can go for it again. I'll take responsibility for the last maybe 15-20 minutes where it's a little bit messy, because at that point, we're losing the game. And what I'm not going to do is say, let's try and keep the score down to 2. What I'm not going to try and do is always try and get the next goal and get the next goal. If it costs me a third, I know it looks worse. I know it's not a good look, but it's won us a lot of points since I've been here. Norwich is a great example. I could have battened down the arches at Norwich. I didn't. I put an extra striker on and we go and win the match. And that's just always my instinct, to try and get the next goal. I don't want to accept us ever like being beat. If it makes it sort of defeat, then yeah, I do understand that. But for me, I think it's worth the risk. Don't you think that? So yeah, and like I said, that third goal, it was a personal mistake. Now, moving on to this. Can you Adam and Eve it? They do this every single time we lose a game. Especially, not only that, but every time where there's anticipation. It's a big game at home. Like, this is the opening game of the season. Other games, big games. We end up losing, and the shirts go on auction. I think we only won like one game when they put the shirts on auction last season. This is from matchwornshirt.com. Again, they put the shirts up on auction. They've all been signed apparently. So yeah, if you want to buy a shirt from... I mean, did anybody play well in that game? Maybe Leonard, Denor, Mitchell. Other than that, I mean, fucking hell. But yeah, so you can see Ivanovic and Negley, they're already up. 157 for Ivanovic, 129 for Negley. Kramer's 87, Jake Cooper's 82. And the rest are down, obviously the Bender. £51 for that. Although, the goalkeeper shirts now, they're designing them so that they look like... Well, this one does look like a normal shirt. But the third kit goalkeeper... Is it the third goalkeeper kit? I think it is. The orange one. That it does look a bit... With the pattern on it, it does look a bit like a goalkeeper kit. This one just looks like a normal kit, to be honest. So, not bad for 50. I think that's... Isn't that cheaper than the... That's cheaper than the club shop. I think isn't it like £55, something like that, 57, something like that. So this is currently cheaper, and it's been worn and it's been signed. So there you go. If you're interested in that, when we... So there's 5 days left, so they're not sticking around. But I mean, man, they should... Obviously, they've decided to do this in advance. What they should do, in my opinion, they should say, okay, here's the thing, we're gonna do this, but only if we don't lose. So if it's a draw, okay, and if it's a win, okay. So as soon as the final whistle goes, you get out there and tell the players, hey, give me a shirt. We're auctioning these ones off. Because every single time we lose the game, it's just like it's some kind of curse or some kind of hoodoo. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's bizarre that it always happens, especially home games. Like, yeah, I don't know what it is. But there is something there, because we keep losing these games and it needs to stop. You need to stop doing this. Either, like I said, only do it when we win or draw a game, or do something else, man. Get a shirt from training. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna finish. Yep, very quick one today. Not a lot going on. I think everyone's taking a day off to lick their wounds. So the under-18s, they are unbeaten so far this season. This is from millsc.co.uk. Normally don't cover the under-18s. I just put through this in to pad it out. To be fair, because like I said, there's not much news around today. So under-18s bring a point home from Yorkshire. Mill's under-18s side drew on the road to Sheffield Wednesday when the two sides faced each other on Saturday. A young Lions side took the lead in the first half, with Ralphie Beckwith fired Chris Perry's side into the lead with his first goal of the season, and the Owls found the equaliser late in the second half, converting a penalty to rescue a point. And under-18s lead coach Chris Perry said, I'm really pleased that some of our younger players stood up to the challenge today. We grew into the game in the first half for a goal, which was a good move. We probably could have had been a few up at the break, and we defended really well in the second half, and we're very unfortunate to concede a late penalty, but these things happen. And next up, they got Fleetwood Town. Obviously, if that's at home, they're all behind closed doors. The under-21s are set to be playing tomorrow away at Hull. I believe it's at Hull's training ground, so you probably can't go in. But there is a match tomorrow, under 21s, and it should be. You would imagine there'll be a pretty strong team there because the first team don't have a game until Saturday. So let's get some of these players out there. Howland and who else? Matthews, Benicio Baker, Kendall. Obviously, they were involved in the Newport game last week. So they missed the under-21s when they lost 4-0. So let's get them out there for this game away at Hull, and let's win that game. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.